Hey, everybody, I'm Ethan,
I'm Jeremy.
and we are the Bloody Essentials podcast. Unfortunately, Nina and Jamie are not with us this evening, so you're stuck with the boys. Sorry, guys, but it is what it is.
I'd like to thank everyone for listening and continue to listen to us. We hope you enjoy it. And first, we'd like to thank our Patreon members, Rick Paulton, Swift, and David Green. Thanks, guys, for continuing to support us and just being our friends, man.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. We appreciate your friendship. If you have not already liked, followed, subscribed, please do that. Tell your friends. It helps us out. Interact with us. Leave us a message. All of this helps boost our popularity. So if you like what you're hearing, please, by all means, let us know. I just want to take this time to let you know where we are going to be at. July 26th at the Music Box Theater. Our friends at the Whorehouse are celebrating their 3rd-year anniversary. Moses and Vinny, awesome guys. Come on down. They are doing a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 screening. If you go to the Horror House or to Music Box, you can get your tickets for that. If you buy your tickets prior to at the door, they are going to have a drawing for a gift card for the Horror House, a signed 8x10 Robert Englund autograph. They got lots of awesome stuff. And if you've ever been to any of the Horror House's events, they throw one hell of a party, guys. So come on out. Bloody Essentials is going to be there. Horror House is going to be there. Come on out, have a drink, hook up, hang out, just chill, get scared. And we are also going to be at Flashback Weekend in Chicago. Speaking of Robert Englund, he is also going to be there. So come out, get in line for him because you know he's going to have one hell of a line. But if you see us walking around, tell us, hey, I know you guys. Stop, get a picture. We would love to have you on our socials. We appreciate everybody.
Come meet Stitch.
That's right. Come and meet Stitch. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, by the end of Flashback Weekend, you will know. So tonight, I am so very excited. We have a guest from the Prowler and Humanoids from the Deep. Jeremy, why don't we go ahead and bring her in and say hello?
Hey, guys. How are
Hey,
you?
Cindy, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Excellent. How are you guys doing?
We are doing great. Thank you so much for being on. I've been looking forward to this.
You too.
I met Cindy, 4 months ago?
Yeah.
At
No, it was April.
Was it? Yeah. Because it was at Cinema Wasteland.
Yeah.
In Ohio.
Yeah.
Which, side note, I've been going to horror conventions for 35 years, and I had never been to Cinema Wasteland.
Didn't
and I was like,
you love it?
Oh my God, it was awesome. I was just about to say, it's probably one of my favorites that I've ever been to.
Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you're going to love this. This is small but mighty."
Yeah.
But I was unprepared for the warmth and the just knowledge of the fans and the community, and we partied the whole time.
Yes, we did.
It was really fun.
It was Saturday night. We were at the bar. The next thing I know, Cindy was like, "Have a piece of cake. It's my birthday." And
that's right. And I think it was like 2 a.m.
It was.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, beer and cake, they go well together.
Perfect.
So
I know it.
And then, of course,
incredible.
I was like, oh, hey, I have a horror podcast. And she was like, say less.
Done.
Let's do it.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
And so here we go.
I'm so glad.
All right, we're going to start by, let me just ask you just some basic questions.
Okay.
And
like my height, my weight.
I'm married. I know never to ask a woman her weight. So
Please.
Yeah. So we're not going to do that.
Okay.
But what drew you into acting?
It's really funny. You know, I was so committed to acting all through high school. I went to Sarah Lawrence College and I studied both acting and music. In college, my music began to be more important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the thing that I really worked on for the 4 years that I was there. So when I got out of college, I actually had nodes on my throat, and so I couldn't do any music or singing in New York. And I headed out to Los Angeles, and I tried to get an agent, which I ended up getting. And it just, it sounds like I should have a plan, but I never had a plan in my life, really. Things just, I look up and say, what do we do today?
Sometimes
And
that's the plan.
yeah, that's the plan. And
The best things happen that way.
well, 3 months out of college, I got Roger Corman, Humanoids from the Deep. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was 21 years old. And and I didn't even have a SAG card, which was a good thing because I couldn't have worked. The only way you could get past that is by having a starring role, and then you don't need a SAG card. They just give you a SAG card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's how that happened.
Oh.
I had studied acting for 4 years, however.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you are an 80s scream queen.
Yay!
You are.
Which tells you my age, doesn't
it? Well, due to the fact that I knew who you were from the original movies, it shows you my age as well. So
yeah, there you go.
But you still look just as beautiful now as you did in the movies.
Thank you so much. That's lovely.
No problem. So with you being a scream queen,
yeah,
are you a fan of horror movies?
So it's a great question. I have never been a diehard fan of horror movies, and it's not to be disrespectful to all the fans who love it. I'm really always been like deep into British crime, detective crime. That's my niche. That's my go-to. That's what I watch to go to sleep. That's it's my thing.
I get
horror
it.
Horror was never my niche, but horror found me. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I get that. We talked to a lot of people that say that. They're like, I was not seeking it out, but it found me, and I'm glad that it did.
And my warmth and gratitude to the horror community just grows and grows. It is the best community. The people in the horror community are just amazing people. And I have a feeling that it's just going to grow and grow and get more and more recognition as
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that our community is a great group of people. Of course, you got some bad apples along the way, but
every family does.
Exactly, but most of us are really cool. Now, let me ask you this. Would you be willing to do another horror movie?
Oh, hell yes.
All right.
Folks, if you have a part for me in a horror film, I would love it.
You go.
I could play the older anything now.
I am so glad that you said that. I was glad you were going to be like, no more horror movies for me. No. I was going to be like, you just crushed my heart.
No, I would love it. Oh my God, that would be heaven.
Okay.
Now, Cindy, is there a certain actor that you would really want to work with?
I'll work with anybody who will work with me.
I love that. Yeah.
What about a director? Is there a certain director that has your eye? We're like, perfect. I would love to be in his movies if he would have me.
Oh, I mean, no, I wouldn't say that. I would just,
all is welcome.
I would work gladly with anyone who had a passion for what they were doing.
I mean, she's already done Roger Corman and Joseph Zito. So, I mean, she got some pretty big ones out of the way there already.
Roger Corman being different from Joseph Zito.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
I'm just going to say, if I could have a dream director, it would be Christopher Nolan. But that's not not a horror genre. Yeah.
It does not need to be a horror genre. Yeah. That's fine. Okay. Now, let me ask you this one.
Mm-hmm.
With all of the remakes, we've got the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with all of the remakes, if somebody were to tell you, we're going to remake either Humanoids from the Deep or the Prowler, which one would you want remade and why?
I gotta go with humanoids.
Okay.
Because you go back, humanoids is that classic Japanese horror genre of the monster, gooey, sticky, coming from the water, larger than life. There's so much that can be done with that now that would be really, really great fun. So, and there's just something so hokey about humanoids
Yes.
that I think that, in a way, you could play on that, and it would be
Okay.
really fun. Hmm.
Okay. Who would you want to play your character?
Me.
Okay. That's a great answer. She's like, I'm going to reprise my role, please.
Yeah, now I'm a grandmother, and it's a grandbaby. Done and done.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I just became a grandmother 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
Well,
congratulations.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You look much too young to be a grandmother.
I'm not. Thank you. Mhm.
All right. Now, I got one more other one before we move on to the movie portion of it.
Yeah.
The Prowler is a great slasher.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see the Prowler fight? What other slasher?
Oh, I see these all the time. Like on Instagram, you'll see like that. But I don't know. What do you think? Who would you like to see the Prowler fight?
I would love to see the Prowler fight Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
That's the one that wins all the time on Instagram. Jeremy,
Yeah.
do you have another one?
It couldn't be Freddy because the Prowler's got the reach with the pitchfork. Maybe Leatherface because he's yeah.
Okay.
Leatherface.
Okay, there you go. All right.
All right. So now your first movie was Humanoids from the Deep in 1980, correct?
Yeah. It was actually, we filmed in 1979.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it was released in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. I mean, it could be wrong. But
No, it was released in 1980.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Humanoid is basically about a sea creature who starts killing the townspeople and raping all the women. So.
Well, wait a minute. Let's stop here for a second. That wasn't exactly the original idea.
I was going to ask that. Was that the original idea?
I mean, it was there, but we had another film we shot, actually. The film that I was hired to shoot with Doug McClure and Ann Turkel was Beneath the Darkness.
Okay.
With Barbara Peters. And it was a Corman film. And I think I may have even been more cognizant that we were shooting a Corman film than maybe Ann Turkel was. Okay. But it was a scary movie, but not a lewd movie.
Uh-huh.
And it was about humanoids coming out, and there is a rape, but there's a rape.
Right.
That results in the birth at the end. But really, it's about this town being terrorized by the greed of corporate, corporate greed.
Right.
And bad science. And so that's what the story was. Later, and as you remember, this was talked about at Wasteland. We go to the theater, and I was with my mother, and Anne was with her husband, Richard Harris, and and it's another film.
Right.
We're told at the last minute that there's a title change. So we're like, okay, Humanoids from the Deep. Okay, it's it's wonky, but yeah, okay, that's actually better. Because Beneath the Darkness could be like a porn film. So Humanoids from the Deep sounds, it sounds good. And I'm in hysterics because this is not the film that we shot at all. This is Roger Corman went back to a second crew and he said, listen, this cut is not, it just doesn't cut it. My audience won't relate to this, what we've shot. So here's your instructions: kill the men, rape the women. And a second crew came in and raped a lot of women and killed a lot of men, and then spliced it into our film. And we didn't see any of that footage until we were sitting in the theater.
Oh my God.
And my mother was kind of like, oh my. And I'm sitting in a theater with 600 people in New York City in one of the big theaters on Broadway. And everybody's screaming at the screen and standing up and laughing and screaming. And it was heaven. And I thought, oh my God, whatever they've done, we've got a hit. And we became the 6th biggest box office grosser in the US. But the reason was because Ann Turkel, being very, very upset about the change, took it to the talk shows to protest what had happened. And that made us extremely popular.
Oh, of course it did.
Right.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
That is great. I think that movie is just gory, sleazy, 80s fun. I love it. I'm there for it.
It's so hokey. I love it so much.
It is hokey, and I love it. It's great. Forever, I could not find a physical media copy of it.
Really?
I just could not. Everywhere I went, I looked for it online. I looked for it, and I could not find it anywhere. I finally found it a couple of years ago at a niche shop. And I had been looking at conventions and stuff, and I could not find it. So I finally found it. And I think I squealed like a schoolgirl because the guy behind the counter was like, sir, are you okay? And I was like, but you have this. And he was like, yes, we do.
That's our only copy.
That's what he said. He's like, that's our only copy, and we don't ever get any of it. And then I looked at the price of it, and I was like, sweet Jesus. And he was like,
yeah, they were expensive in those.
He was like, yeah. And I was like,
Yeah,
wrap it up. I have to.
Yeah,
have it.
right, exactly.
I'm like, it has to come home with me.
So you know, they've re-released because of the what is it?
Yeah.
The big anniversary for Roger Corman, and they released it with the making of the Humanoids from the Deep, which is a YouTube movie. It's on YouTube, and it's hysterical.
I love it.
In fact, they came here and interviewed me right here, right in this room.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and they interviewed James Horner and everybody, Roger and everybody. Well, they didn't interview Anne. But so now you can. I remember, well, when I said I went from college and then I did acting, and then later on I went on to music. And so I married a musician, and we were in I don't know where we were. I think we were somewhere in the Midwest. I think it might've been Ohio, actually. And we went to a gas station, and they had both Humanoids and the Prowler there. It was like my proudest moment. I wanted to move there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
You should have been there, Ethan.
I wish it would have been.
Great gas station.
All right. So now you've seen the movie. It's not quite exactly what you shot.
Yeah.
But now this is what you got.
Yeah.
So you come out and your friends and family have seen it. Were they like, what the hell is this? What's going on? What was their reaction?
Well, my favorite reaction was from, I mean, everybody was so excited because I was really young. Just the fact that I had done something like that and it was so amazing. My agent wasn't thrilled. But my favorite moment of it is when they asked me if I want, so in the middle of the Humanoids coming, for some reason, I take a shower, which I always thought was hysterical.
Right.
I mean, I have a baby, I'm hearing on the radio, things are going wrong, but no, I'm going to take a shower. So I take and they said to me, would you do a nude shower? And I said, I don't do nudity. I never did anything. And so they said, okay, that's all right, no problem. And I thought, wow, they didn't fight me with that at all. So when I went to the movies, you see a scene of me getting in the shower, and I'm like 32A, and in the shower is a naked body of a woman, clearly with bigger, better assets. And my mother turns in the movie theater to me and she goes, "Well, that's not you."
Oh my God!
You're like, "Oh, thanks,
great.
Mom."
Yeah, and I'm like, "Thanks. This is a great night. This is great." That was my favorite.
That's awesome. Now, do you think if they were to remake that today, they could do it as good and as sleazy as it should be, or do you think everybody would have their panties in a ruffle because everybody is?
Well, it's pretty sexist. It's pretty awful, which is
it's awful good.
But I love it.
Yes.
And again, I was coming from sort of a progressive education. But I knew it was Corman, and I thought it was hysterical. My girlfriends were not so pleased with it. They were proud of me, but not. But I just thought, I said, this is, they're having fun here. And I think the problem with remakes is when they remake things, there's not the same innocence. With the Roger Corman movies were so remarkable because the whole crew were they were my age. I was 21. Rob Bottin, who was head of special effects, was 19 years old. Most of this would never happen today. Most of the crew were all our ages. They were 19, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23. That was the age of everybody. And so we were all willing to work 18-hour days. The unions would come up and they said, are they keeping you to? And we're like, oh, yes, everything, yes. Because we didn't want to lose our jobs,
Right.
And we just worked around the clock. And it's that young, fresh energy. The budget is so low that every time we didn't get a take after 5 takes, they'd say, lose it. And we'd go to the next, you had to get it, or we moved on. And I'm like, that's kind of an important scene. And they're like, not anymore. It's not.
Right, we're scrapping it.
Yeah, the storyline is not that important. When you look at films is it Omarosa who won the Oscar this year? I think it was Omarosa. It was a film. So. Yeah, it was a film that it cost $7 million.
Right.
Unheard of for an Oscar winner now.
Right.
There's something about when you're low budget, you are so resourceful and clever, and everybody you're working with is so committed, and you're very close to the dream idea of the movie. So when you go into remakes, it's hard to keep the spirit of that sort of Wild West that happened.
I have never heard it like that, and I love that. I think that's the best answer that I've heard about the remix. You can't keep the spirit of it because now it's all about the money and all about. I love that. That's great.
it's like Star Trek. The special effects are that 2 people are on either side of those sliding doors and they're opening it and closing it. But then you get into sort of the new films that, of course, that's ridiculous, but that's part of the fun.
It is.
And then another thing with remakes, they kind of have restrictions because they don't want to vary too much away from the story because then people are going to get pissed about it and be like, well, this is a completely different movie. So it kind of puts handcuffs on people creating it as well, which makes it not as good.
So you have to have artistry. It's like a musician remaking a song that everybody loves. There has to be creativity and artistry. It can't just mimic the original.
Right.
And so you have maybe a real diehard Corman fan could do it and do it with dignity and keep it as hokey as it should be.
Yes. The hokier the better.
Absolutely.
I love that whole hokey 80s.
Yeah.
That's
marvelous.
See, for sure. I love 80s horror.
Oh, and I love the Prowler.
I love it. I love it. I actually ordered a Prowler shirt.
But you didn't order it in pink.
I did not order it in pink. No, I did not.
Yeah.
But I ordered it and it came in, and as you can see, I'm not a tiny man. And I
It
picked
just
it up.
wasn't plentiful.
I picked it up and I was like, who is this gonna fit? I could wear it as a headband. So I had to send it back.
Idea. Oh.
So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work for me. So
Oh. Well, how often do I get the chance now? So I was thrilled to be able to do this.
Right, that's awesome. I love that.
Hi, everybody. Just wanted to thank all of you guys for listening and supporting the podcast. If you haven't already, please follow us, like us, leave us a review. Little things like this can really help the podcast out so much. Also, if you want to hear your name mentioned in our episodes at the beginning and receive fun little goodies from the entire Bloody Essentials team, you can join our Patreon. It's 100% like no commitment. All the proceeds go back into the podcast. It helps us upgrade our recording equipment, our editing software, all those good things. And it also helps pay for our travel expenses with our upcoming appearances. So that can add up really fast, but we're looking to hopefully expand to other conventions and, going to other states to see spooky attractions. So funds like that will help significantly. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but before we can actually start receiving funds through YouTube and things like that, as horror creators, we need at least 500 followers on YouTube. So if you aren't already following us, but you listen to us and you really like our content, please like us, subscribe. It really helps out so much, and it allows us to keep doing what we're doing. So we love bringing horror to you each week, whether it's content creators, our thoughts on a film. So we really want to keep doing this for as long as possible. And money is unfortunately a big way to stay on top of that. So like I said, all of your support really means a lot, and you get fun little goodies from all of us. We got Bloody Essentials merch. We got horror goodies that we've been saving for you guys, whether it's stickers, horror collectibles, I'm talking like shirts from your favorite horror companies, Fright Rags, all those good places. And then, of course, we've got some NECA figures and all those kinds of things. So if you want to receive fun horror goodies from your Bloody Essentials crew, join our Patreon. It's going to be a really good time. We also have a Discord channel and unedited episodes before they air. So that's always exciting. And we're hoping to be doing movie parties really soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll get back to the show now.
Now, speaking of the Prowler, we're going to start talking about the Prowler now, which I have to give a shout out to Andrew Polonesic at Cinema Wasteland.
Yeah.
He was the young man who was cosplaying.
Oh my God, did you love him? I must have 50 pictures with him.
Yes, he was phenomenal. I seen him walking down the hallway. This is right before I actually went to come and see you the first time. And he was walking down the hallway, and I just kind of stopped, and I was like, dude, I'm like, I have to get a picture with you. And he's like, because he couldn't talk because he had stuff on. He's like, okay, hold on. So he was adjusted everything. So we took a whole bunch of pictures and stuff. And
not only that, he'd been coming for like 10 years.
Yes.
I mean, this was not for that, because that Wasteland we were showing the Prowler and Humanoids.
Yep.
It wasn't in honor of that. He'd been coming like that for 10 years.
Exactly. Because I'm actually, we made friends. We were at the bar. We made friends. We've hung out and, we talk and stuff.
Yeah,
now.
we all drank together.
Yeah, we all drank together. But he was like, literally,
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, did you just do this for now? Because, and he was like, no, dude, I've been doing this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah,
you've been the Prowler. He's like, no, I've been a fan of this forever. So shout out to you, Andrew.
Shout out to you, Andrew.
Rock on.
I tell you, man, I've got some great shots of you if you need, if you want them.
As a matter of fact, I was talking to him and I was like,
DM me.
I was like, Cindy's coming on the podcast, and he was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, she really is, I promise.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, DM me and we'll send those pictures.
There you go. Okay.
Cindy, the Scream Queen. Yes.
That's right. We're going to have we'll get all your socials and everything at the end of it, and we will link them all to our podcast page.
That's my only social.
So people could come and find out where you are. Okay, so the Prowler was in 1981. Directed by Joseph Zito. Now, it's a killer that's dressed in a World War II Army fatigues who stalks a group of college kids in a small California town. trying to relive a murder that happened 30 some years ago. So
Great storyline, a real storyline.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, as
Mhm.
big of a horror freak as I am, and a big as a slasher, because slashers is my thing, I remember watching this back in the 80s and I remember liking it, but I somehow lost it. And our co-host Nina was like, you need to rewatch this. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I know I've seen it. And it like the resurgence of love that I was like, oh my God, what was I?
It held up, man.
It did.
It
It did.
held up. As a slasher, it is a
Absolutely.
classic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely
And-
100% love it.
And that's Tom Savini, really.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
I was
Tom.
going to bring that up.
Zito, I give you a shout out, but it's Tom Savini.
Yes.
Tom, I love you.
Tom
so much.
Savini, enough said. Like,
Yeah.
look at the special
come on.
effects. Jesus.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Tell us a little bit about the audition process for the Prowler.
I went in with a Southern accent. I
Okay.
remember that because there was a reference of something that she had come from somewhere else. And then later, Joe said, we want that, keep that. That's part of her sassiness. And I didn't like later, I did a series for CBS. I starred in a series for CBS called Baker's Dozen.
Uh-huh.
And they brought me back like 5 times. I mean, every 3 weeks I had to go back, and each time there would be a larger group of people and this. But with this, I went in, got it, and that was it. It was just a good match. They don't make you die in the audition, and they certainly don't want to see your bathing suit body.
Right.
But I was very fit. I was athletic, and I was ready. And I am, to this day, I'm an open water swimmer. I swim in the lake. I live in Seattle, Washington, and I live just off a beautiful lake. And I swim the lake every day, all year round, just in a bathing suit. I swim every day. And it gets down to like 36 degrees, but I'm used to that. I grew up in Seattle. I was gone for decades and came back. And so it's easy for me. It's part of what I do. But it didn't occur to me until recently, when people have been asking me questions, had they not gotten an actress that could be in that cold of water for 3 days, because we couldn't heat the pool. It's December in New Jersey. It's freezing. And we couldn't heat the pool where my head was cut off because steam would come up. So I'm in an ice cold pool getting my head cut off for 3 days. And I thought, boy, I don't know if there's, they got lucky because I was a swimmer. Had I not been a swimmer, it would have been a really, really brutal shoot.
I think maybe she's a little psychic too, because you answered the next question that I had. I was going to say, tell us a little bit about your death scene and doing it in the water and everything, but you've just answered that. So
oh no, there's so much.
I love that. Well, tell us some more. I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, and I was talking to Tom recently. There was a documentary on him that they shot at the time, where they did days of us shooting this, and I think it's been lost, but the footage of us shooting it was really funny because it's Tom right behind the camera the whole time, and it's us in the water, and every time and of course the mechanics of this were new. He was working with new sort of machinery that automatically was slicing my throat. We had to build a whole, thing for my neck, which we had to replace at different times because I'm in the water. And then every time they would slice my throat and the blood would pour out, we'd have to sort of drain that part of the pool, put the water back in, and do it again.
Oh man.
And we shot at night for 3 nights.
Right.
Just doing this. When I ended, I had no voice at all. I mean, not even a whisper. I couldn't talk for 3 days. Nothing. Zero. And so I don't know. you know, you're young, it's crazy, it's fun. We had a blast killing me. We
Yes.
had a blast. It was a tight part of the crew. It was, you know, just small, and we were all freezing. And you know, we'd get out and we'd warm up and we'd talk about it and we'd do it again and we'd do it again. It was just wild. And in the end, I remember running along the side of the pool to go look at the camera to see what we had. And they had that one shot with just, and we all went, oh my God, we got it. We got it. Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was.
The part I love,
absolutely beautiful.
the part I love of that scene is like when they cut your neck, you can see like a little air bubble come out of like your neck. It was perfect. I don't know if he meant to do that, but it was beautiful.
It happened. You know, it was like the take, and it was like, we got it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And there was sort of, being on set was really interesting because, again, you have a lot of young people and we're all waiting to be killed in really wretched ways. So we're shooting at night, a lot of it. Vicky and Chris were shooting more in the day, but the rest of us were really at night. And there was kind of a tension because, you know, we'd be like, when do you die? When do you die? You know, they'd be like, oh God, my death is, you know, day after tomorrow. And we'd be like, oh. And then, you know, we'd all stand and wave while the car took them away, you know, because once you're dead, you go.
Yep.
And there's fewer and fewer of us, you know. And we were just in this resort off season in New Jersey, freezing, just us. It was really wild. And I do like to tell the story of when they had me in the grave scene where you see me in the grave. Things always take longer than you think. You know, you think, okay, that's a quick shot, but not really. It took a whole night to get that. And at one point we were working on it and they said, okay, lunch break. It's like 2 a.m. And I said, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And Joe was like, no, you can't eat. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, look at you. You're dead. Your throat's slit. I don't want your makeup messed up. You can't eat. So I had the crew just put me down in the grave and cover me with a like a blanket thing on top so I could take a long nap. It was the warmest place on set. Yeah.
That's great.
So when they killed you off, you said once everyone got killed off, they like kind of brought them off set. Did they keep you longer to do that that scene?
Yes. Yes, which was really great. I got to stay. I actually went back to New York City. I spent 3 days not being able to talk at all. And then about 5 days later, they brought me back out and cool. to do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than your kill, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kill in the movie?
It's got to be Lisa Dunheath's in the shower. It's got to be Lisa. Lisa was she was a dear friend for many, many years. And she was such a gorgeous, sweet girl. And to do that to her gorgeous body was just awful. But she was so good natured about it and so sweet. And I just kind of liked her death. And I like the fact.
It looked very beautiful too, because when the pitchfork was like where her stomach was, you could see like pressing into her. It looked really real. It looked great.
So real. It looks so real. And then they kind of, the way they kept her there with the shower going.
Yeah.
It was really haunting. Yeah. And then the next day they come and the shower is still going, which I always got a kick out of.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right. I know Jeremy's got a couple of fun facts that he would like to share with us about the Prowler, which have to do with you.
All right. So the cemetery scene, basically that grave was already dug. It was waiting for a burial. So they found it, and they didn't even have to dig it. It was ready to go.
You know, they didn't tell me that till later. I just never would have gotten in there. I mean, I would have been like, you're, yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
So the house they used for Major Chatham's house, it was actually a museum, and the furniture inside was all antique. The owners would only allow like a skeleton crew to be shot in there. He didn't want a lot of people in there.
He's right to not want a lot of people. A film crew can absolutely decimate a house. Yeah, wasn't it something?
Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't like freaking out when he was like hitting the tables and stuff with the pitchfork and stuff, because
he probably was freaking out.
Yeah.
I know. With Humanoids, the house that we used, my house, just to jump off for a minute, the house that they used, I mean, they got rid of the whole wall, the whole window and wall, so that the cameras could slide with me while I was going with the Humanoids. And I'm like, oh God, the people who had this cabin had no idea what was going to happen to their cabin. Yeah.
So the special effects makeup, they usually took like a full day to set up. So the film was entirely shot, like the schedule was shot around doing the effects, which definitely pays off. The effects are so beautiful in this movie. Tom did an amazing job.
Tom did an incredible job. Yeah, it was the effects were God in this movie. It was everything. When they did the mold for my neck, they burned me by accident. Not a severe burn, but bad enough where we had to, again, wait a few days because my neck was just, you couldn't even touch it. And I was so terrified that it was going to be like permanent damage. But Tom just goes, it hurts, but it's not lasting.
It hurts, but it's for the craft. It's okay.
But it's for the greater good.
Right. It's for the greater good of the movie.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Beauty is pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, Tom.
And I'm hoping that the grave that you used, I'm hoping at least the person buried there is a horror fan.
I hope so too. God bless them.
Yeah, I would be like, come on.
Oh, jeez.
That would be great.
So
But-
the Prowler character was actually played by 3 different people. It was played by the assistant director, Peter Giuliano.
Yeah.
He was the one that did all like the walking around and the stalking scenes. Tom Savini, he did all the kill scenes because he knew all the practical effects did. So he did all, like, you would see his hands mostly in his arms. And then of course Farley Granger at the end to be the unmasking.
Yeah.
So it
Peter
took
and I
3 people to play that character.
Yeah, and well, yeah, Peter and I were in the pool together that whole time. My understanding is he also became a professor or something. So there was something about that pool that changed us. It also took, you just said 3 days, and why did that? 3. You just said there were 3 prowlers. So in Humanoids, there were also only 3 humanoids, and one of them was Rob Bottin.
Oh, wow.
The other 2 were, I don't remember who they were, but there was just 3 humanoids that kept attacking over and over and over. But there were only 3 of them. We were so low budget, we couldn't have more than 3 suits, and Rob had to be in one of them. So this often happens where with lower budgets, you have to use everybody.
I'd love to hear that. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap it up for this episode, is there anything else that you would like to let us know, or let our listeners, or let your fans know? Do you have any cons that are coming up, or anything that you would like them to know where you're coming to, where they can get your autograph? Or
Well, I would like to say that we are in the works of planning an anniversary for the Prowler.
Love this.
A huge anniversary. And we're hoping to do a big screening at the hotel where it was shot. We're hoping to get all kinds of artwork and everything. And so we're going to be announcing that. It would not be this fall. It would be a year from this fall.
Okay.
But that should be, it's like, what is it, 45th anniversary or something like that. Yeah. So that, but Other than that, I don't have anything on the books right now, but my Instagram is Cindy the Scream Queen. And I would love to hear from everybody. I'm so honored to be remembered after all these years. But I got to show you these. Some of my favorite things that you can get are the Humanoids toys and the Prowler toys. Would you look at these? Are these
Those are
hysterical?
Awesome. Those are great.
I'm giving these to my grandchildren. No explanation. It's just going to be their favorite toys. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, Grandma's a scream queen.
Grandma's a scream queen. Grandma's a scream queen.
And I have to say, out of all the female characters in the Prowler, not just because you're here, but you were my favorite. You were so out there, so fun. You flashed the guy across the way. You were a super fun character. I loved your character more than any of the girls in there.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
100%.
Joe and I talked about, I said, I want to make her really outrageous and really kind of likable, like you'd love to hate her.
Yeah.
So that when she gets killed, you're like, yeah, that was great. Yeah, that she deserved it. But yeah, and I loved her broadness as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yes. Well, I certainly hope that I get to see you at another con and have another drink with you and hang out because you are fabulous.
Cheers, mate. I'm ready anytime.
Yes. And if I don't get to see you then I will see you in Jersey because as long as you let us know when it is,
absolutely,
I will be there. I will be there.
Date. Jeremy, Ethan, it's a date.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
All righty. We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you giving us the time to come on.
Oh my God.
It's been a ball.
It's been a blast. Thank you so much for sharing the fun of it all with me.
Oh, absolutely.
And Cindy, if you ever find yourself in another horror movie, don't have sex, don't do drugs,
and certainly don't die. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.